This is part 136 of ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss providing the capability to start and stop the image slideshow that we have created in parts 134 and 135. Please watch these parts before proceeding with this video because we'll be working with the same example that we started in part 134. Notice that at the moment, the end user doesn't have any capability to stop the slideshow that's already in progress. Now, this is what we want to achieve. We want to provide the user with a button control. If the slideshow is not already in progress, the text on the button control will say Start Slideshow. Once the user clicks on that button, the slideshow should start, and the text on the button control should immediately change to Stop Slideshow. And then when the user clicks Stop Slideshow, the slideshow that's in progress should stop immediately, and the text on the button control should change back to Start Slideshow. And this is very straightforward to achieve. All you need to do is drag and drop a button control, double click on that to generate the event handler, and then within the event handler you either have to enable or disable the timer to start or stop the slideshow. So basically, if you remember, we are able to change the images that are displayed within the image control dynamically because the timer control raises this tick event. Now we have configured the interval for the timer control as 1000 milliseconds. That's 1 second. So every 1 second this timer control is raising that tick event, and it posts the page back to the server. And upon post back within the tick event handler, we have written code to change the image within the image control dynamically. And now this timer control is capable of raising the tick event only if it is enabled. If you disable it, it's not going to raise the tick event, meaning it's not going to post the page back to the server, in which case it's going to stop the slideshow. So all you have to do is enable or disable the timer control, but you'll have to check the state of the control before you do that. Okay, so if the timer control is enabled, then we know that the slideshow is already in progress and we want to stop the slideshow because the user has clicked on that button. So if the timer is enabled and if the user has clicked on the button, disable the timer, which is going to stop the slideshow. And since we have stopped the slideshow, the text on the button control should say Start Slideshow, and that's what we have it here. Okay. If it is coming to else part, then we know the timer control is already disabled, meaning the slideshow has already stopped, and we need to enable the timer control for it to have to raise that tick event. So we are enabling the timer control, and then we are setting the text of the button control to stop slideshow. Okay, let's look at this in action. So let's go to default.aspx, include 2 HTML breaks there, drag and drop a button control, and initially when the web form first loads, the slideshow will be in progress. So we want the text on the button control to be something like Stop Slideshow. And then let's flip this web form to the design mode, double click that to generate the event handler, and then within the event handler, if the timer control is already enabled, then in that case disable the timer control. And to do that, all we are going to do is set enabled property to false. And then since you have disabled the timer control, the text on the button control needs to say Start Slideshow. On the other hand, if the timer control is already disabled, then we need to enable that, and the text on the button control should say Stop Slideshow. So with these changes, let's go ahead and run this, and now the end user should have the capability to start and stop the slideshow on demand. So the slideshow is in progress. We are at number 5, 6, click Stop Slideshow. Look at that, it stopped at image 6. Now once I click on Start Slideshow, it should resume at image 7. There we go. So I can stop it, I can start it again. Okay, now at the moment there are two problems with this code. If we want to add a new image to the slideshow, then we'll have to modify the application code, because if you remember, we have hard coded I to 8 here, because we have maximum of 8 images here. Once it reaches image number 8, we want to reset it at 1 and start all over again. That's why we have hard coded it at 8. Now let's say if I want to add a new image to the slideshow, I'll have to change this application code. All I have to do is change it to 9. It's going to work. But then, while this application code change is not that complicated, but it is still going to require, testing, deployment, to the build and deployment to the production server, which is obviously going to time consume. Okay, so I mean, anytime you want to add an image to the existing slideshow, it should be as simple as a configuration change. It shouldn't require the application code to be built and deployed again. Okay, so that's the first problem. Adding an image to the slideshow is causing our application code to be modified because we haven't written it in the most efficient way. Okay, and another problem is the new image has to be named in a specific way. If you remember, these image names were something completely different, but we have changed their names to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the new image, if it has some other name like xyz.jpg, we will have to change it to 9.jpg. Okay, so obviously, that's a disadvantage, because if we want to remember those image names for some other purpose, we don't have that right now. We don't have those images names at the moment. Okay, so let's see how to fix both of these issues in our next video. On this slide you can find resources for ASP.NET, C#, and SQL Server interview questions. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.